Thursday, the 6th of January, 1944. I realized what's wrong with Mother. She says that she sees us more as her friends, not her daughters. That's nice, but a friend is not the same as a mother. I think the changes in my body are wonderful. Whenever I have my period, 3 times now, it's like a sweet secret inside me. There is pain and mess, but I look forward to it again. I need a friend, and I'm going to try Peter. I want badly to talk to someone. I had a chance to talk to him yesterday. I looked into his dark blue eyes, and it gave me a wonderful feeling. That night in bed, I cried and cried. Must I ask Peter to be my friend? I don't love him, but I do need him. If the Van Daans had a daughter, it would be just the same with her. So I've decided to visit Peter more often, and to make him talk to me. Wednesday, the 12th of January, 1944. I'm crazy about dance at the moment. I practice my steps every evening, and I've made myself a modern dance dress from Mother's clothes. I tried to turn my tennis shoes into dance shoes, but it didn't work. All the exercise is helping. I'm not nearly so stiff now. Saturday, the 15th of January, 1944. I won't tell you all the details of our quarrels in the annex, but we are not sharing our food in the same way now. We've got our own stores of meat and oil, and we even cook our own potatoes. Mother made a wish. I don't want to see Mr. Van Daan's face for 2 whole weeks. Unfortunately, her wish is not likely to come true. Does everyone who shares a house become like this? Or are we just unlucky? Thursday, the 3rd of February, 1944. Everybody is thinking about the Allied invasion. What will happen to us if the British invade Holland? The Germans say that they will let the water from the sea into the country. Each person has his or her own idea. We'll have to walk through the water. Don't be silly. We'll have to try and swim. We'll swim underwater, and then nobody will see that we are Jews. Oh, rubbish! Can ladies swim when rats are biting their legs? Next question. When the invasion comes, will the authorities make everybody leave Amsterdam? We'll leave the city with all the other people. No, we mustn't go outside. The Germans will send everyone to die in Germany. All right, we'll stay here. Let's ask Miep for some extra blankets and some more food. We've got about 65 pounds of beans at the moment and 50 tins of vegetables. What's in the stores, Mother? Tell us. 10 tins of fish, 40 tins of milk, 3 bottles of oil, 4 jars of butter, 4 jars of fruit, 20 jars of tomatoes, and 9 pounds of rice. That's it. Our stores are still quite good, but we do have to feed the people in the office too. Let's make little bags for our money that we can hide in our clothes if we have to leave here. And so it goes on all day. That's all I hear. Invasion, invasion, only invasion. I'm very calm about it. I don't care now whether I live or die. I'll just keep on with my work and hope that everything will be all right in the end. Wednesday, the 16th of February, 1944. I had to go up into the attic, through Pater's room, to get some potatoes today. When I was going up the stairs, he stood up and took my arm. "I'll go," he said, but I told him that it wasn't necessary. On my way down, I asked him, "What are you studying?" "French," he replied. I asked if I could look at his lessons. Then I sat down on the sofa and began to explain some French to him. We went on talking pleasantly about other things too, and finally he spoke about the picture of film actors on his wall. It's the one that I gave him, and he likes it very much. "Shall I give you a few more?" I asked him. "No," he replied. "I prefer this one. I look at it every day, and all the people in it have become my friends." Pater needs love too. That's why he holds Moushy the cat so tightly. Friday, the 18th of February, 1944. Whenever I go upstairs, it's always so that I can see him. I have something to look forward to now, and life here is better. Mother doesn't like me going up there. She says that I should leave Pater alone. She always looks at me oddly when I go to Pater's room. When I come down again, she asks me where I've been. Wednesday, the 23rd of February, 1944. The weather is wonderful, and I feel better. Almost every morning I go up to the attic for some fresh air. We can open the window there and look out. This morning, Pater was up there too. He came over to where I was sitting on the floor. The two of us looked out at the blue sky, at the tree, and at the birds flying through the air. It was so beautiful that we couldn't speak. We stayed like this for a long time. How can I be sad when there is the sun and the sky? I asked myself. God wants us to be happy and to see the beauty of this world. It will help us in all our troubles. Sunday, the 27th of February, 1944. I think about Pater from morning to night. I dream about him and see his face when I wake up. I feel that Pater and I are not really very different, although we seem to be on the outside. We both have strong feelings inside, which are difficult to control. Neither of us feels that we have a mother. His mother isn't serious. Mine is interested in my life, but she doesn't understand me at all. Saturday, the 4th of March, 1944. This was the first Saturday for months that wasn't boring. It was because of Pater. I joined the French lesson that Father was giving him. I was in heaven, sitting on Father's chair close to Pater. Afterwards, We talked together until lunchtime. Whenever I leave the room after a meal, Peter says, if no one else can hear him, "Goodbye, Anne. I'll see you later." Oh, I'm so happy. Perhaps he does love me, and it's so good to talk to him. Friday, the 10th of March, 1944. We have more troubles now. Miep is ill, and Mr. Clayman is still away from work with his bad stomach. Bep is trying to do everything on her own. Last night, somebody knocked on the wall next door while we were having dinner. We were very nervous all evening. The police have taken Mr. M away. He's the man who sells us potatoes, butter, and jam on the black market. It's terrible for him, and also for us. He has 5 young children and another baby coming. Tuesday, the 14th of March, 1944. I'm sitting at the Van Daan's table with a handkerchief over my mouth. Why? Let me start at the beginning. They've arrested the people who bring our ration tickets, so we don't have any fats or oils. Miep and Mr. Clayman are ill again, and Bep can't go shopping for us. The food is awful. Lunch today is potatoes and some very old vegetables out of bottles. They smell terrible, which is why I have the handkerchief. We've got to eat them too. I feel sick when I think about it. Half the potatoes have gone bad, and we have to throw them away. If life here was pleasant, the food would not matter so much. But it's the 4th year of the war, and we are all in bad moods. Saturday, the 18th of March, 1944. I've written so much about myself and my feelings, so why shouldn't I write about sex too? Parents are very strange about sex. They should tell their sons and daughters everything at the age of 12. But instead of that, they send them out of the room when anyone talks about sex. And the children have to try and find out everything by themselves. Then, later, the parents think that the children already know it all, but usually they don't. Soon after I was 11, they told me about periods. But I didn't know where the blood came from or what it was for. When I was 12 and a half, one of my friends told me some more. She told me what a man and a woman do together. Well, I had already guessed. I was quite proud of myself. She also told me that babies don't come out of their mothers' stomachs. Where everything goes in is where the baby comes out. Children hear about sex in bits and pieces, and that isn't right. Although it's Saturday, I'm not bored. I've been up in the attic with Peter. I sat there dreaming with my eyes closed, and it was wonderful. Sunday, the 19th of March, 1944. Yesterday was a very important day for me. At 5 o'clock, I put on the potatoes to cook, and Mother gave me some sausage to give to Peter. But he wouldn't take the sausage, and I thought it was because of the awful quarrel that we had recently. Suddenly, my eyes filled with tears. I took the plate back to Mother and went into the toilet to cry. I decided to talk to Peter. After the washing up, I went to his room. We stood by the open window as it grew dark. It's much easier to talk like that. He didn't refuse the sausage because of our argument, but because he didn't want to look too greedy. Then we talked about so much together. It felt good. It was the most wonderful evening I've ever had in the annex. We talked about our parents and our problems with them. I told him how I cry in bed. He said that he goes up to the attic when he is angry. We talked all about our feelings, and it was just as good as I imagined. We talked about the year 1942 and how different we are now. He thought that I was a noisy, annoying girl at first. I thought that he was uninteresting. I told him that we are like two sides of the same coin. I am noisy and he is quiet, but also that I too like peace and quiet. I said that I understand why he goes away to be alone sometimes, and that I'd like to help him when he argues with his parents. "But you always help me," he said. "How?" I asked, very surprised. "Because you're always cheerful." That was the nicest thing he said all evening. He must love me now as a friend, and I'm so grateful and happy for that. Wednesday, the 22nd of March, 1944. Things are getting more and more wonderful here. I think that true love may be happening in the annex. Everyone has made jokes about us, saying that we might get married if we are all in the annex long enough. Perhaps those jokes aren't so silly at all. I'm sure now that Peter loves me too, but I don't know in what way. Does he just want a good friend, or a girlfriend, or a sister? Oh, when I think about Saturday night, about our words, our voices, I feel very satisfied with myself. For the first time, I don't want to change anything that I said. Thursday, the 23rd of March, 1944. Our black market ration book men are out of prison now, so things are better here. Yesterday, a plane crashed quite near us, on top of a school. Luckily, there were no children inside. There was a small fire, and 2 people were killed. The men inside the plane were able to get out in time, but the Germans shot them immediately. Local people were so angry. It was a cowardly, horrible thing to do. We, the ladies of the annex, were very frightened. I hate the sound of guns. Tuesday, the 28th of March, 1944. Mother is trying to stop me going up to Peter's room. She says that Mrs. Van Daan is jealous. Perhaps she's jealous too. Father is happy about it. He's glad that we're friends. Mother thinks that Peter has fallen in love with me. I wish that it was true. I do want to stay friends with Peter. We have our difficulties, but we have to fight against them, and in the end they will make everything more beautiful. When he rests his head on his arms and closes his eyes, he's still a child. When he plays with Mushi, his cat, he's loving. When he carries the heavy potatoes for us, he's strong. when he watches the air raids or walks through the dark house to look for burglars, he's brave. And when he doesn't know quite how to behave, he's sweet. Wednesday, the 29th of March, 1944. Mr. Bulkerstein, from the government, was speaking on the Dutch broadcast from London. He said that after the war they wanted everybody's diaries and letters about the war. They would be an interesting part of history. I might be able to write a book called The Secret Annex. People would think that it was a detective story. But seriously, 10 years after the war, people would find it very amusing to read about us. The Jews who were hiding. How we lived, what we ate, what we talked about. But although I tell you a lot about our lives, you still know very little about us. For example, how frightened the women are during the air raids. Last Sunday, 350 British planes dropped their bombs on Emoiden, so that the houses shook like grass in the wind. Or about the awful illnesses that people are catching here. You know nothing about all this, and it would take me all day to describe it. People have to wait in line for vegetables, and all kinds of other things too. Doctors can't visit the sick, since their cars and bikes are stolen at once. There are so many thieves around that you ask what has happened to the Dutch. Why are they stealing so much? Little children, 8 and 11-year-olds, break the windows of people's homes and steal whatever they can. People don't dare to leave the house even for 5 minutes, because everything may be gone when they return. The public phones are stolen, and all the parts of the electric clocks on the street corners too. Everyone's hungry. A week's food ration doesn't even last 2 days. We're waiting for the Allied invasion, but it's so long coming. The men are sent to Germany, the children are ill or hungry, and everyone wears old clothes and broken shoes. It's too expensive to repair shoes, and if you give your shoes to a shoe mender, you may never see them again. Friday, the 31st of March, 1944. Just imagine. It's still cold, but most people have had nothing to put on their fires for a month now. It sounds awful, doesn't it? But we are hopeful about the Russians, who are doing well. They've reached Poland now, and the Prut River in Romania. They're close to Odessa, too. The German army has invaded Hungary. 1 million Jews still live there. There is no hope for them now. Nothing special is happening here. Today is Mr. Van Daan's birthday. He received several presents and a cake. The cake wasn't perfect, because we can't buy the right things to make it with, but it tasted wonderful anyway. People are not saying so much about Peter and me now. We're very good friends. We spend a lot of time together, and we talk about anything and everything. I couldn't talk to other boys like this. We even talked about periods. He thinks that women are strong enough to lose the blood, and that I am too. I wonder why he thinks that. My life here is better now, much better. God has not left me, and he never will. Monday, the 3rd of April, 1944. I'm going to describe our food rations. Food is a difficult and important problem, not only for us in the annex, but for everyone in Holland, all of Europe, and even further away. We've lived here for 21 months, and often at any one time there was only one kind of food to eat. For example, one kind of vegetable or salad. We would eat it with potatoes, in every possible way that we could think of. But now there are no vegetables at all. We have potatoes and brown beans. We make soup. We still have some packets and stores to make dishes, which are a little bit more interesting. But it's beans with everything, even in the bread. The most exciting moment is when we eat a thin piece of sausage once a week and put some jam on our bread. No butter, of course. But we're still alive, and much of the time the food tastes good too. Wednesday, the 5th of April, 1944. For a long time now, I haven't really been interested in my schoolwork. The end of the war still seemed so far away, and if it isn't over by September, I won't go back to school, since I don't want to be 2 years behind. Pater filled my days, nothing but Pater, nothing but dreams and thoughts, until Saturday night when I felt terrible. I sat on the floor in my nightdress and said my prayers. Then I just lay down on the floor and cried. But I knew I had to fight against it, and finally, when I climbed back into bed at 10 o'clock, the suffering was over. And now it's really over. I've realized that I must do my schoolwork. I want to make something of my life. I want to be a journalist. I know I can write. A few of my stories are good. A lot of my diary is alive and amusing, but I don't know yet if I can be a really good writer. But then if I can't write books or for newspapers, I can always write for myself. I don't want to live like Mother, Mrs. Van Daan, and all the other women who simply do their work and are then forgotten. I need more than just a husband and children. I want to be useful and to bring enjoyment to all people, even those that I've never met. I want to go on living after my death. I'm grateful to God for my writing. So I'll go on trying, and everything will be all right, because I'm not going to give up. Tuesday, the 11th of April, 1944. I don't know where to start. So much has happened. Thursday, when I wrote to you, everything was as usual. Friday and Saturday too. Then on Sunday evening at 9:30, Pater knocked at our door. He asked Father to come upstairs and help him with some English words. But I didn't believe him. That's strange, I said to Margot. I think we've got burglars. I was right. They were breaking into the warehouse at that moment. Father, Mr. Van Daan, and Pater went downstairs as quickly as possible. Margot, Mother, Mrs. Van Daan, and I waited. 4 frightened women need to talk, so that's what we did. Then we heard a loud noise, but nobody came back until 10 o'clock. Father looked quite white when he came in to us. Lights out and get upstairs quietly. The police will be here soon." The men went back downstairs, so we still didn't know what had happened. But 10 minutes later they were back. They told us that burglars broke down the warehouse door and that Mr. Van Daan had shouted, "Police!" They tried to put the door back, but the burglars kicked it down again. Then a man and a woman on the street shone a lamp in from the street. We later found out that this was Mr. Van Hoven, the man who brings us potatoes, and his wife. We waited and waited in the dark until after 11 o'clock. Then there was more noise downstairs, and finally someone tried to move the bookcase. We were so frightened. I thought the police were going to take us away. But then the person went away, and the house was quiet. We had to stay quiet all night, too, and use a large tin for a toilet. We tried to sleep on the floor. "We should hide the radio," said Mrs. Van Daan. "If they find us, it doesn't matter if they find the radio too," answered Mr. Van Daan. "Then they'll find Anne's diary as well," said my father. "So we should burn it," suggested someone. "Oh, not my diary. If my diary goes, I go too." But fortunately, nothing was done. At 7, we rang Mr. Clayman, and at last Jan and Miep arrived. They had to go off again to the police to inform them about the burglars. So we had half an hour to tidy up the house and get everything straight. It was an awful, smelly mess. We were in terrible danger that night. Just think, the police were by the bookcase, but they didn't find us. God was truly watching over us. You have saved us. Please save us in the future. That's what our prayer is now. From now on, we must be more careful too. Dussel will do his work in the bathroom, and Peter will walk round the house between 8:30 and 9:30 every evening. Somebody noticed that Peter's window was open, so he must keep it shut now. It has reminded us that we are Jews, and that we must live like prisoners. We must forget our personal feelings and be brave and strong. One day this terrible war will be over. The time will come when we'll be people again, and not just Jews. Who has made us suffer like this? Who has separated us from all the other people? God has made us like this, but God will lift us up again. Perhaps afterwards, if there are any Jews left, our suffering will teach people something. Perhaps they will learn something about goodness, and this is why we have to suffer. We can never be just Dutch or just English. We will always be Jews as well. Be brave. There will be a way out. God has always looked after us. All through history, Jews have had to suffer. But there are still Jews, and the suffering has made us stronger. I thought that I was going to die that night. I waited for death like a soldier. But now that I'm still alive, I want to stay in Holland after the war. I love the Dutch. I love this country. I love the language. I want to work here. If God lets me live, I will do more than Mother ever did. I want my voice to be heard. I'll go out into the world and work for all human beings. Sunday, the 16th of April, 1944. Remember yesterday's date, because it was special for me. When a girl gets her first kiss, it's always an important date. Last night, I was sitting with Peter on his sofa bed, and he soon put his arm around me. I put my arm round him too, and we sat very close. We've sat like this before, but never as close as we were last night. He wanted me to put my head on his shoulder. Then he rested his head on mine. Oh, it was so wonderful. He touched my cheek, my arm, and my hair. At 9:30 we stood up to go. Peter had to check the building. I was standing next to him. I must have made the right movement. I don't know how, because he gave me a kiss. It was a kiss through my hair, half on my left cheek and half on my ear. I ran downstairs and didn't look back. Friday, the 28th of April, 1944. Last night, Peter and I were sitting on the sofa as usual, in each other's arms. Suddenly, the usual Anne disappeared. The confident, noisy Anne. And the second Anne took her place. This second Anne only wants to love and to be gentle. Tears came to my eyes. Did he notice? He made no movement. Did he feel the same way as I did? He said very little. There were no answers to my questions. At 8:30, I stood up and went to the window, where we always say goodbye. I was still Anne number 2. He came over to me, and I threw my arms around his neck and kissed him on his left cheek. I was going to kiss his other cheek too, when my mouth met his, and we kissed each other again and again. Last night was a great shock to my heart. The gentle Anne doesn't appear very often, and she's not going to go away quickly. Oh, Peter, what have you done to me? What do you want from me? But if I was older and he wanted to marry me, what would I say? Anne, be honest. I couldn't marry him. Peter isn't strong enough as a person. He's still a child. Tuesday, the 2nd of May, 1944. On Saturday night, I asked Peter whether I should tell Father about us. He thinks that I should. I was glad. It means that he's sensible. As soon as I came downstairs, I went with Father to get some water. While we were on the stairs, I said, "Father, when Peter and I are together, we don't exactly sit at opposite ends of the room. But you've probably guessed that. Do you think that's wrong?" Father paused for a moment, then answered, "No, I don't think it's wrong. But Anne, when you're living so close together as we do, you have to be careful." Later, on Sunday morning, he said more to me about it. You must be the one to be careful. It's the man who always wants to go further. In the outside world, it's different. You're free. You see other boys and girls, and you can play sport and do a lot of different things. But here, you see each other every hour of the day. Be careful, Anne, and don't take it too seriously. Father says that I shouldn't go upstairs so often, but I still want to. Yes, I'm going. Wednesday, the 3rd of May, 1944. For the last 2 weeks, we've been eating lunch at 11:30 on Saturdays. From tomorrow, it'll be like that every day. That will be 1 meal less each day. It's still very hard to get vegetables. This afternoon we ate some bad cooked lettuce. Add some bad potatoes, and you have a meal fine enough for a king. I haven't had my period for more than 2 months, but it finally started last Sunday. Although it's a trouble and a mess, I'm glad. You can imagine we often say, "Why are there wars? Why, oh why can't people live together peacefully?" No one can give a really good answer. Why is England making bigger and better aeroplanes and bombs, and at the same time also building new houses? Why do governments give millions each day for war, when they spend nothing on medicine or poor people? Why must people go without food, when there are mountains of food going bad in other parts of the world? Oh, why are people so crazy? It's not only governments who make war. No, the common man is guilty too. We give our governments the authority to do it. There's something in people that makes them murder and kill. Unless all human beings change, there will still be wars. I'm often sad here, but I still see our life in the secret annex as an adventure. It's dangerous, but exciting. I've decided that I want to live a different kind of life, not like other girls, and that I won't be an ordinary housewife. Living here is an interesting beginning to my life, and that's why I laugh at the amusing side of it, even when it's dangerous. I'm young, and I'm strong, happy, and cheerful. I feel that I'm growing up more every day, and that the end of the war is not far away. Nature is still beautiful, and the people around me are good. Every day, I think what an interesting adventure this is. So why be sad or frightened? Saturday, the 6th of May, 1944. It is hard to believe it when Jan, Mr. Kugler and Mr. Kleeman tell us about the prices of food in the outside world. Everything is so expensive, and people buy and sell on the black market. One person can sell you a little bit of wool, another some ration books, and another some cheese. Stealing and murder happen every day. Even the police and the night watchmen are doing it. Everyone wants food to put in their stomachs, and they can't earn enough money to eat. Monday, the 8th of May, 1944. Have I ever told you anything about my family? I don't think I have. So let me begin. Father was born in Frankfurt am Main, and his parents were very rich. Michael Frank, his father, owned a bank. When father was young, there were parties and dances every week, and they lived in an enormous house. But when his father died, most of the money was lost, and after the Great War and the problems in Germany, there was nothing left at all. Mother's family wasn't so rich, but they had quite a lot of money, And she also tells us stories of private dances and parties with 250 guests. We're not at all rich now, but I hope things will be good after the war. I'd like to spend a year in Paris and London to learn the languages and study art history. I've told you before, I want to see the world and do all kinds of exciting things, and a little money will be very useful. Friday, the 19th of May, 1944. I felt awful yesterday. I was sick and had a headache. I'm feeling better today. I'm very hungry, but I won't eat the beans that we're having for dinner. Everything is going fine between Peter and me. We kiss each other good night every evening, and he always asks for another kiss. He's so happy to know that somebody loves him. I'm not so close to him now as I was. My love hasn't grown colder, though. Peter's a lovely boy, but I've closed the door to the Anne deep inside. If he wants to find her again, he'll have to break down the door. Monday, the 22nd of May, 1944. We've heard something very sad and frightening. It seems that a lot of people are thinking differently about us Jews now. People are against us who were once totally on our side. Some Christians are saying that the Jews tell secrets to the Germans. They say that the Jews are telling the authorities about their helpers, and then those people are arrested. And then, of course, the punishments that they get are terrible. Yes, it's all true. But they should ask themselves this: if Christians were in our place, would they behave differently? Could anyone, Jew or Christian, stay silent when the Germans are trying to make them talk? Everyone knows that it's almost impossible. So why do they ask us, the Jews, to do something impossible? I have only one hope, that the Dutch will not be against us for long. They should remember again in their hearts what's right, because this isn't right at all. Thursday, the 25th of May, 1944. Something happens every day now. This morning they arrested Mr. Van Hooven, the man who brings the potatoes. He was helping 2 Jews who were hiding in his house. The world is turned upside down. The best people are in concentration camps and prisons, while the worst decide to put them there. It's terrible for Mr. Van Hooven and for those poor Jews. It's also very difficult for us. Bep can't possibly carry all those heavy potatoes, so we'll have to eat less of them. Mother says that we won't eat breakfast. Lunch will be bread and something simple, and dinner will be potatoes. If possible, we'll eat vegetables or lettuces once or twice a week. That's all there is. Monday, the 5th of June, 1944. There are new problems in the annex now. There's a quarrel between Dussel and the Franks. We can't agree how to share out the butter. Then the Van Daans don't agree that we should make a cake for Mr. Kugler's birthday when we can't have one ourselves. It's all very silly. Mood upstairs, bad. Mrs. Van Daan has a cold. The weather is awful. The Allies are bombing the Pas-de-Calais and the west coast of France. No one is buying American dollars now, and they aren't interested in gold either. We shall soon come to the bottom of our black money box. How will we have enough money to live next month? Tuesday, the 6th of June, 1944. This is D-Day, the BBC said on the radio at 12 o'clock. This is the day. The invasion has begun. The German news says that British soldiers have arrived on the coast of France and are fighting the Germans there. At 1 o'clock, the BBC said that 11,000 planes are flying in to help the invasion. They're carrying soldiers or on bombing raids. 4,000 boats are arriving on the coast between Cherbourg and Le Havre. British and American armies are already fighting there. We can't believe it. Is this really the beginning of the end of the war? We've talked about it so much, but it still seems too good to be true. Will they win the war this year, in 1944? We don't know yet. But where there's hope, there's life. It makes us brave and strong again. Now that the invasion has started, I feel that friends are coming. Maybe, Margot says, I can even go back to school in September or October. Friday, the 9th of June, 1944. Great news of the invasion! The Allies have taken Bayeux, a village on the coast of France. They're now fighting for the town of Caen. Tuesday, the 13th of June, 1944. I've had another birthday, so now I'm 15. I had quite a few presents. Among them were an art history book, some underwear, a handkerchief, a pot of jam, 2 small honey cakes, a book about plants from Mother and Father, sweets from Miep, and some lovely flowers from Peter. The invasion is still going well, although the weather is terrible. Heavy rain, strong winds and rough seas. Peter loves me more each day, but something is holding us back, and I don't know what it is. Sometimes I wonder if I wanted him too much. I think that perhaps it wasn't real. But then if I can't go up to his room for a day or two, I want him badly again. Peter is kind and good, but in some ways I'm not happy about him as a person. He doesn't think much of God, for example, and I don't like the way that he talks about food. And why doesn't he let me come close to him? Really close to the person deep inside him. I haven't been outside for so long that everything in the natural world seems wonderful to me now. I remember a time when I didn't notice the blue sky, or the flowers, or hear the song of the birds. All that has changed. When I can, I try to watch the moon, or the dark, rainy sky through our windows. And when I look at the clouds, the moon and the stars, I really do feel calm and hopeful. It's the best medicine, and I am stronger afterwards. Unfortunately, I usually have to try and look through dusty curtains and very dirty windows. Tuesday, the 27th of June, 1944. The mood has changed, and everything outside is going very well. The Allies have won Cherbourg, Vitebsk, and Schloben. In the 3 weeks since D-Day, there have been rain and storms every day, but the British and the Americans have fought hard. How far do you think we'll be on the 27th of July? Saturday the 15th of July, 1944. I know that I won Peter as a friend, not the other way round. I was the one who tried to make it work, and I made a picture of him in my mind as a quiet, sweet boy who badly needed a loving friend. I needed someone to talk to say what was in my heart. I wanted a friend, too, who would help me to find my way again. I succeeded. Slowly but surely, he came towards me. Finally, we became friends, but we became very close, too. I find it hard to believe now that we grew so close. We talked about very private things, but never about what was deep in my heart. And I still can't understand Peter. Is he really shy, or is there nothing deep in him at all? But I made one big mistake. I wanted him to be close to me, and now we can't be friends any other way. And he's holding on to me too tightly. I can't see how to change this now. Friday, the 21st of July, 1944. Now, at last, things are going well. Great news! Somebody tried to kill Hitler, and it was actually a German army official who tried to do it. This shows us that many of the German soldiers have had enough of the war too, and would like to end it. Tuesday, the 1st of August, 1944. I'm two people, really, as I've often told you. One side of me is cheerful and amusing, and enjoys a kiss or a rude joke. This is the Anne that people know, and they will be amused by me for an afternoon, but after that they've had enough of me for a month. No one knows the other side, the better side of Anne. It's deeper and finer. But the first Anne always shows herself, and won't let the second Anne out. I try, but it doesn't work. It's because I'm afraid that people will laugh at me. Of course people laugh at me now. I'm used to it. But they laugh at the amusing, light-hearted Anne. She doesn't care, but the deeper Anne is too weak for that. If I make the good Anne come out even for 15 minutes, she won't speak, and allows Anne number 1 to talk. Then, before I realize it, she's disappeared again. So the nice Anne never comes out in front of other people, but she's almost always there when I'm alone. I would like to change, and I'm trying hard, but it's difficult. If I'm quiet and serious, my family thinks I'm ill. But I keep trying to become what I would like to be, and what I could be if only there were no other people in the world.
Anne's diary ends here. Afterword. On the morning of the 4th of August, 1944, a car arrived at 263 Prinsengracht, the address of the secret annex. German and Dutch police arrested the 8 people who were hiding in the annex. Somebody must have told the authorities that they were hiding there. They also arrested 2 of their helpers, Mr. Kugler and Mr. Kleeman. Miep and Bep were not arrested. The police took all the money and anything valuable that they could find in the annex. Miep later found Anne's diary in the building and kept it safely until after the war. The police took Kugler and Kleeman to a prison in Amsterdam. On the 11th of September 1944, they were sent to a concentration camp in Amersfoort, also in Holland. Because Kleeman was ill, he was allowed to go free on the 18th of September. He lived in Amsterdam until he died in 1959. Kugler later escaped, and he went to live in Canada, where he died in 1989. Bep's real name was Elizabeth Voskuil Veek, and she died in Amsterdam in 1983. Miep Sandrushitz-Gies is still living in Amsterdam, but her husband, Jan, died in 1993. The 8 people from the annex were first taken to a prison in Amsterdam. Then they were sent to Auschwitz, the concentration camp in Poland. It seems that Mr. Van Daan died by gas at Auschwitz, and his wife was taken to several more concentration camps. She died in a concentration camp, though nobody knows exactly how. On the 16th of January 1945, Peter Van Daan had to go on the terrible prisoner's walk from Auschwitz to Mauthausen in Austria, where he died on the 5th of May 1945. He died only 3 days before the Allies got to the camp. Albert Dussel died on the 20th of December 1944 in the Neuengamme concentration camp. Edith Frank, Anne's mother, died in the Auschwitz concentration camp on the 6th of January 1945, too tired and too hungry to live any longer. Margot and Anne Frank were taken from Auschwitz to the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp near Hanover in Germany. A terrible illness attacked the prisoners there. They both died in the winter of 1944 to 45. Anne must have died in late February or early March. All the bodies of the prisoners were thrown together. The British Army arrived at the camp on the 12th of April 1945. Otto Frank was the only one of the 8 still alive. After Russian soldiers reached Auschwitz, he was finally taken back to Amsterdam. In 1953, he moved to Switzerland, married again, and lived there until his death in 1980. He spent the rest of his life trying to share the message of his daughter's diary with the rest of the world.